Like our brains, that's why people are freaking out. And you're seeing all these crazy stories is it's starting to happen now with the magnetic effects on the human brain, the human physiology. But what's going to happen with that new class of human that you're describing? I'm very curious. Because think about everybody listening tonight, your manifestation capabilities are increasing exponentially by the day. Like the way you can manifest a physical object into your life is happening so fast right now. This is what the elite are terrified of. Human race coming together to manifest them out of our planet and off our realm and out of our vibrational field of sight for another 10,000 years, however long it is. As we come through this change electromagnetically, and as our sun steps down, and then the second magnetic fields forming out in the outer solar system, the resonance ability of the human is going to increase, I think, manifestation capabilities. And it already is. And I really believe that, again, that this whole separation point right now that's happening is all part of these earth changes that would give us, the regular person, more abilities for co-creating in the physical realms, literally in the physical realms. But in the spiritual realms, when you say the duality of light and dark, anybody who could manifest on that energy level of light on the exponential of what they could even 5 years ago, the whole key to that is groups of people, group meditation, group thought to manifest, groups coming together. I mean, it was powerful before, but where we sit right now magnetically, electromagnetically, and where we head every single day strengthening into this new electromagnetic field out in the outer solar system, groups become not groups, but supercharged manifesting thought process units. This is the whole reason I really believe that we're being kept apart too. It's not because they care about your health. They care about themselves not being overtaken spiritually and us manifesting a different reality that they can't control. Because you notice all this gaslighting, fake reality is happening now, and things are happening faster now because that's what's supposed to happen with all these double magnetic fields is we're going to manifest faster. So all these things you're seeing in the news and these articles and, see how fast it's going is because people's psyches are manifesting this in real time on the planet when we should be manifesting something completely different of love and light and complete break away from centralized systems into our own communities. This is where we should be focused. And doing away with war and doing away with central banking and doing away with all this. It really started in 2019. Around the world, people were becoming very organized to ask for change from central banks control. But as we get in these double electromagnetic fields, the more gaslight we get, the more it's manifesting in physical reality. And we need to twist that around. And my whole question is, we see everything nefarious happening. It's in your face. But what can we really do? 80% of the world is buying this right now. And those are the 80% of people manifesting it for the other 20% are like, this is a complete hoax. So how do you come back and what kind of recourse can you take to stop this gaslight, fake screen illusion that's bending the reality right now? That's my question. I just don't have an answer for it. I'm always asking the question, but others don't have answers either. Maybe it's a combined thing that we can find an answer.
While you were, talking about that, we need groups. I was looking at this article from Yahoo News. Off-road, off-grid, the modern nomads. Wandering America's backcountry. These guys already got it figured out right here. They probably won't be doing too much nomading because you won't be able to travel. But they've already perfected the art of not living in a house, not having an electrical grid. It's funny, a lot of people have a lot of tools and they have a lot of pneumatic tools and other stuff like that, but they forget that all their compressors and all that stuff run off electricity. So if they don't have their own personal grid, they're not going to be using any of those fancy tools. But these guys have it figured out. And if you've traveled across America, you see these guys all the time in the Walmart parking lots because they still got to get supplies and they still need someplace to sleep that they don't get messed with. Believe me, you're not going to be able to drive up in Walmart or go park at a Campgrounds of America or a rest stop, if they've shut down society, you're going to have to be part of the system, and you're going to stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, you would be a target. You know, those of you with campers and that kind of thing. That's a huge target because they know you're carrying everything with you that you own pretty much, and there's an enormous amount of supplies on those things. Great to have to get out and be able to, it would buy you some time for sure to be able to pull off to a spot. Because on our land out here, we're making 2 different camper pads with 50-volt plug-ins. So in case that were to happen, we'll have 2 pads where you can roll up, even with a 56-foot rig, and then still park yourself here with the 50-volt plug-in. So that's 2 instant spots where you can come in. Already has a septic, water hooked up, electric ready to go. You just, like you would any RV park, you just come, plug and play, blink, blink, and you're already here. Like the safety that provides for us too is having other people around, but then the advantage and the safety it gives other people too on the run, that they know they can get out and get safe and have a place to plug in and have instant electricity, instant water, and instant sewage, where, then they can rest easy that night. Within seconds, they know that they're in a safe space. And I don't mean they're in a safe space, but I mean truly in a place they're not going to get messed with, because there'll be others around as well protecting the property in a group setting. So good in one way. It's great to have that ability to get off and off-road and out of the way and buy yourself extra time and avoid the chaos and just keep on trucking. But at some point you're going to have to stop, and you probably want to stop somewhere friendly.
Do you know what's a weird idea? I don't know why I had it, but I'm sure you've read about genetic drift, where you get a segregated group of individuals genetically, but for some reason or another, they start looking differently than the other people genetically related to them. Some cultural thing changes, and then all of a sudden something else is attractive. What are people going to look like when they're segregated to these little groups of genetics because of their reality beliefs or whatever it is that segregates them? But what are the groups of people going to look like that only have a limited amount of genetic material? They're going to be bottlenecked groups of people that are going to start looking a specific way based on whatever that group of people thought was attractive. I mean, we're going into a weird era where there's just going to be so many splits in Homo sapiens sapien that we may have to come up with all kinds of words. There's now babies made out of 3 different people's DNA. We have, I'm sure, chimera type, human type creatures in some of these genetic labs, since they've admitted to making chimeras in their labs. And how far or how much they're human is undisclosed to the public. And then you also have these gene edited people now. You don't think China's the first ones that did it. And even if they were, you think they did it for the first time when the guy admitted to the public that they changed the DNA of these children and that they were out there. And I read another article said they lost track of them. So who knows, in the future, you have a person that has 3 different people's DNA mixing with someone that was gene edited. You're no longer a human being. After a couple generations, you're a new species of simian ape, I guess, a genetically modified chimera. What a world of diversity.
We got to think the looks are one thing, but breeding a human species to be more docile, you do the same thing if you're going to raise cattle, if you're going to raise chickens, especially, you want to get some breeds that aren't as aggressive with children, or as aggressive if you're going into the coop to get some eggs out. I mean, we do the same thing with dogs to breed them to be more aggressive, less aggressive, cattle. The animal species, the humans have been breeding. This time we're being bred. And again, I'm going to go back to Jupiter ascending, because I think it's an off-planet or inner Earth type of society that's calling the shots on the surface here, and we are being farmed. Different farming techniques, and now for some reason the entire planet needs to be farmed the exact same way. Before it was, whatever you list as a government or a societal structure, that was the farming technique for that country or continent. But now everything's becoming completely homogeneous and all farming techniques are one. So those things about the chimera and all these different DNA blends happening, you got to realize that when they were born and when that happened, the magnetic fields were not where they're going to. The magnetic fields they were born into were very strong. The sun was at its high magnetic field. There was no second magnetic field in the outer solar system. And these beings with different DNA structures, you have no idea how that's going to affect them, because we have no idea how it's going to affect us, the regular double-stranded DNA double helix person. When the magnetic field of the sun goes down, our magnetosphere goes off, an enormous amount of cosmic rays blast the planet, our magnetic field shifts and is morphing in itself off. It's not going to flip, I don't think, but definite huge wanders in that. And then we have a second magnetic field forming in the outer solar system, all within these next 3 years. I'm wondering what's going to happen to their manifestation or superpower capabilities as well, because they might actually become superhuman when all these resonant frequency changes are here, along with the electromagnetics. Like our brains, that's why people are freaking out. And you're seeing all these crazy stories. It's starting to happen now with the magnetic effects on the human brain, the human physiology. But what's going to happen with that new class of human that you're describing? I'm very curious. Because think about everybody listening tonight, your manifestation capabilities are increasing exponentially by the day. Like the way you can manifest a physical object into your life is happening so fast right now. This is what the elite are terrified of. Human race coming together to manifest them out of our planet and off our realm and out of our vibrational field of sight for another 10,000 years, however long it is. Let us live in the light. And this is what we are capable of doing at this second. And that's why they want to keep us apart. But that other type of human you're talking about, I am curious, Ransom, what do you think with all the magnetic field shifts? You think that'll change them into something super extra? I wouldn't, superhuman's the way to go, because they've been brainwashing us with all these Marvel cartoon movies in the last few years. And I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
I actually don't think there will be too superhuman, even though China has admitted that they've gene edited some of their soldiers to be faster, stronger, et cetera, et cetera. However, we have no idea what the combinations are, or maybe someone does, and they know that these people that were born now aren't going to be really affected. But if they go out into the population and make a child, we know from genetic evidence of the past that one female can spread genes down millions of generations. You're better with timelines than I am. Think about a while back, we had a new kind of blood show up. I think it's about 30 to 50,000 years ago, which is the Rh negative factor of floods. Also, there's a weird thing with the fact that a long time ago, they had this big brain event where supposedly there's anatomically correct humanoids walking around. And then bam, they're just big brain. We're doing art. We're doing making clothes, doing all this stuff. So something happened that changed them then. And a weird thing happened that changed history of all nations in all areas of the earth. At one time, somebody started farming. And genetic evidence shows that the people that moved across Europe and replaced the native Iberians and the native British or the Druids or whoever you want, they had a certain amount of genetics. And then all of a sudden it just changed all the way over to 90% of genetics of the farmers that moved into the areas. So the dominant genes went with farming everywhere. And so did industry. And they proved that other places that never kind of achieved industrial type farming or farming knowledge, where they were actively farming big areas of the earth, they never turned into societies. They pretty much stayed in a primitive state. So farming was the key to everything, but something happened to those people right before the gene change into farming. Something gave them these ideas, something changed them over, a whole new thought process. And, new things show up all of a sudden, including blood types. And then no one's ever explained why we're the only ape with 46 chromosomes when all of the other have 48, all of them. And all of the other apes, all of them, and primates all have the ABO system, but none of them have the rhesus negative factor. So we know that new types of humans just pop up out of nowhere. And now that we're tinkering with it, do you think that was a similar time when all those changes happened? Because, we had Denisovan, we had Neanderthal, they were kicking it for hundreds of thousands of years, and then all of a sudden, bam, they're gone. But there's a new kind of dude around, and he's dominating, and he's farming.
Well, I'd refer back to Robert Felix's book, Evolutionary Leaps and Magnetic Reversals, because it lends a lot of credence to what you just described. Is we get these incredible cosmic ray bursts when the sun's at the primer field is collapsed on the sun. We're entering into a new ice age or close to the precipice of entering into a new one. The magnetic field on the Earth shifts at the same time, and we get this incredible, massive amounts of cosmic rays coming in, and that affects everything on the planet. That's the reason there's gaps in the fossil record. Speaking of the timelines, the fossil record, maybe things occur faster than what we've been told in traditional science. The things that are hundreds of millions of years might not really be hundreds of millions of years.